Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Faceless Void.
Dire team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
That's right, we're back here again, SEA Dota to kick things off. We
Dire
play Season
team
3 of Dota in the JD Studios, and we're kicking it off with a pretty interesting match, Team Redemption against Signature.Trust. Now, both of these teams, they're sitting around mid-table for the SEA group stage. Redemption 2 and Trust 1 and 4. Need to pack in a couple wins if they want to get themselves up to the top, where Phoenix are 5 and 2, Mineski 4-0, TNC sitting pretty at 3 and 3. Both these teams struggle ahead of them. They've definitely got these wins in. What they're up to now is the picks of bans, as you can see, already in Procaster. Heen, bring on, man.
Hey man, I'm feeling good. I'm hearing myself again. That was only for the first sentence. I'm good. Anyway, I don't know about you, but it was pretty cold in Korea. I think today was like the first day where I wasn't worried about getting frostbite, so the weather's been getting better and I feel much better.
Is it that bad? Oh my goodness, I mean...
It was like minus 18 degrees Celsius.
Oh, screw that. Screw that, honestly. Oh, I can't deal with the cold weather, honestly. Like, I was brought up in England for like the first 10 years of my life or something, but then I lived in Southeast Asia, I lived in Brunei, lived in Indonesia, I lived in Saudi Arabia in the Middle East. So I'm used to, like, 30 degrees, day or night, weather, dry weather, whatever. I just want hot weather. And then I moved back to England. Now I'm living in Berlin, where honestly it's pretty chilly here. Well, it was dropping during the winter, proper down to like -8 or something. But that's freezing cold for me. I cannot imagine people who live in like Canada and Korea, in Russia even, where it's like -30. This is how we deal with our lives. Just get on with it.
No, it's like weather's really important. No one wants to retire in like a cold country. They always want to retire in like a nice country with beaches and sunny weather.
You want the beaches with the cocktails, the pretty ladies serving you drinks and stuff like that. But anyway, we're heading into the game. Redemption take out the OD Lone Druid. For SEA, this is pretty stuff, honestly. Invoker and Furion are the bans out by Trust, and then obviously Lance's Terrorblade has showings past couple. But it's the Faceless Void first pick that kind of interests me. I mean, it's a hero, but I'm guessing they're looking to try and force the ban, or force the Hand of Redemption to ban Deathput.
It's hard to say, but I think the first glance, the two picks from each kind of represents what kind of team they are pretty well. Signature.Trust has always been a team around the strong mid-game fight potential, so they have the Void and Gyro, which on paper is already insane team fight. Whereas Redemption, in my opinion, they've had sort of a long break after TI4, but I remember them being a team that's they're lane-centric and they kind of want to control the pace of the game, not through aggression, but like they kind of, how do you call it, they play the game until they feel like they have the upper hand or they got more out of the laning stage and they're ready. And pick the 2 supports. Presumably, the Venge is going to be a support. I'm not
10
sure, but
seconds remaining.
you can see the different approaches to the drafting from
5
both teams.
seconds remaining.
Sure. Found out Redemption. What are you thinking of now? I'm actually very
Dire
surprised that
team
they
pick.
don't ban out the Death Prophet unless they want to pick it themselves in this initial pick phase here. They do have the first crack at it. Go for the DP because Death Prophet faces Void. Add in the Gyrocopter as well. You have this 3-core lineup that just beasts you in teamfight. Exorcism through Chronosphere and Cooldown. Difficult to handle, honestly. Someone trapped in the Chronosphere and those ghosts are just smacking you around in there while you're stuck.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, for sure, because the Void and DP
5
also have pretty good
seconds remaining.
synergy. Because Void being an offlaner, nowadays he's more often than not an offlaner, and he doesn't have to actually do that much damage with
Radiant
Chrono, so he
team
can
pick.
actually use a Chrono defensively to save the DP. Whereas before it was kind of like almost kind of skewed to be kill someone basically, right? Now you can have an offlane Void that sets up nice defensive Chronos for the DP and Gyro to do a lot of deeps.
Or the utility. I never really thought about it that way. That's a good point. Back when we
10
used to see one
seconds
roll
remaining.
Void, you'd farm for like 15, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever it was, and then
5 seconds remaining.
always look for the aggressive Chrono. You'd always go out looking to fight with the Chrono, but with these
Dire
utility
team
offlane
pick.
Voids, of course, you can use it defensively, try and split up the fight and cause disruption, and disruption's what they'll get with the Disruptor himself. That's semi-counter, I guess, to the Batrider, seeing as Venge is picked. Oracle was banned out. Send Batrider back, of course. Kinetic Field, Static Storm, both good spells up against him as well. But in this drafting progression, can you
10
explain why
seconds
DP
remaining.
hasn't picked?
5
I mean,
seconds remaining.
I think both teams do have capable DP players, but they haven't been quite
Reserve
up to date,
time.
or it takes time for players to regain their confidence to a hero. And I mean, you're not going to be super confident on the hero, even though you know by looking at other matches and regions and teams that you know the hero is good. It's going to backfire on you if you do it blindly, because other people are showing that it's good. You have to have the player be confident in it. Other than that, it's to say exactly why the hero is like objectively super good. Then the only reason I can see for them not picked it yet is confidence.
With Batrider, there's plenty of placement abilities here for Team Redemption. There's hard about what they can head into next. Now, we could look at this a number of ways. Venge support, Witch Doctor support, Batrider mid lane. Of course, you could still have that Venge one roll up to the safe lane. Team Redemption needs another.
Tiny.
To go with a Tiny. That kind of throws that idea out of the window.
Team pick.
I'm gonna put this Tiny because there's Wisp still out there. It's a potential combination here with the Tiny, and then we could maybe still see the Witch Doctor safe lane, Batrider off lane, Tiny Wisp. But kind of interesting they're picking this Tiny into a Void, into a Disruptor, because Tiny can get kited relatively easily, especially in the early game.
Well, seeing that Redemption picked the knee on
10
4th pick,
seconds
where
remaining.
Signature have the option to ban out the Wisp, I think they
5 seconds
assume
remaining.
that the Tiny doesn't need the Wisp, so they'll probably, my
Reserve
guess is that they're
time.
going to offlane the Batrider, have a Tiny mid, and pick another carry. If they do go for Wisp, like you mentioned, the possibility of that would make it a Wisp, Tiny mid lane, and Venge carry with Doctor. And those lanes are pretty strong, but if Venge is the
Dire
best hero
team
to
back.
go with. Because when you use Tiny, you want strong initiation. Batrider is pretty good, but Venge to carry and just swap it in aggressively. I'm not sure if that's the best synergy with Tiny.
10 seconds remaining.
Abaddon from Trust.
5
Where on earth
seconds
did that come
remaining.
from? And then Abaddon faceless Void offlane could be pretty disgusting here if that's what they think.
Reserve
That's-
time.
It's a difficult spot, right, for Team Redemption, because, like you said before, it kind of feels like the Wisp
Radiant team
Trust,
back.
Signature Trust, but it kind of feels like the Wisp is there and a scary proposition. kind of have to ban it, but is it a bait where they want you to ban out the Wisp? And it's going to be the Night Stalker that they take out. So
Dire team
IO
pick.
is still there as an opportunity for Redemption to pick up for themselves and maybe shuffle their lanes around.
I think they're gonna pick some kind of safe lane carry that has really strong laning, because neither is a Batrider offlane. The reason Batrider
10
offlane
seconds
isn't as
remaining.
popular as before, a lot more mid Batriders, is laning stability
5
and
seconds remaining.
more predictable blink timings. And mid Tiny, it can go out of control, but
10 seconds
Tiny
remaining.
himself doesn't inherently have really strong laning. So they need
5
at least
seconds
one lane
remaining.
where they feel really dominant, so that they can make rotations in the other lanes. But
What?
Radiant
what?
team pick.
I mean,
What?
doesn't really matter what I think. Anti-mage.
Okay.
Not sure what you made anti-mage was the best pick here, because it's not very good against Void. Doesn't do well against Disruptor. Good against Gyro, Abaddon, but they have to pick it blind into basically
10
two heroes that
seconds remaining.
semi counter it and a fifth hero that could potentially like really
5
counter it
seconds
hard.
remaining.
Right now, Signature.Trust can just go. They can just go for the
Reserve
full
time.
5-man battle, right? They can just go push tier 1s as quickly as possible, limit the farm, because we often throw this word around, you know, greedy lineups. We often talk about this. But when you're looking at a Batrider who needs a Blink Dagger, to farm that up 20 minutes, ideally, you need a Tiny who kind of wants to go, you know, Treads, Bottle, Drums, Blink, Aghanim Scepter. Still needs big components or big items to build himself up by about 20 minutes. Anti-Mage needs Battle Fury plus whatever else. Battle Fury plus Vlads by 20 minutes. There's this window. The first 20 minutes of the game is imperative for Team Redemption to get their items or to get a decent laning stage. So greedy is like an understatement for this lineup, I feel. Witch Doctor and Avenge, they've got a lot of carrying to do in the laning stage, while Trust, if they can just push, you know, knock down tower after tower, use the level 6, level 7 Gyrocopter to go and fight, get the basis Void Chronos out there, maybe try and get the levels up on Disruptor and Abaddon as quick as they can, and they just say, screw you, Durka, we don't care what you want, we're gonna pick an Alchemist. We're gonna secure ourselves the mid to late game. Alk can still farm reasonably fast and overtake the AM Tiny pretty early on. I don't know how you feel about it.
I mean, the patch only nerfed to bounty gold on the rune at 0 minute mark. Only nerfed his initial starting items, and after that, it's sort of the same. I think that was the only nerf. And actually, at late game, he gets 6 instead of times 5 on the bounty runes. But other than that, if he goes for the fighting elk, where it's not the Radiance and Red elk that goes a lot of stat heavy items,
10 seconds
AC,
remaining.
Yasha, Hard, blah blah blah, and then you have an Abaddon supporting the elk, they might finish the game. One of the reasons I think they picked elk instead of some other mid heroes is because Redemption have a ridiculously lineup. So they do make kind of a mistake, then they're gonna feel a sense of desperation. But with an Alk, you match them somewhat late game. I mean, the Faceless Void can be really ridiculous late game, so I'd say, given how fast Alk is capable of farming, they can match Redemption late game.
What they're up to. Of course, we have a pause to start things off, guys. As always with my games, they do have a few little issues, but we have been having problems with the SEA servers over the past couple of weeks, where people get like 200 ping, 250 ping, stuff like that. Hopefully, I'll just start and back on in. Jabs offlane Void, Lakel's Gyrocopter has been playing that. I mean, Lakel's has been playing Morphling, Razor, Gyrocopter like exclusively for the past couple of weeks. I really want to keep my eyes on my Pro's Alchemist, see what he does. Because we used to see, time and time again, there were 2 builds, mainly for the Alchemist. There was the kind of Solar Crest Treads build that Eternal Envy kinda popularized, where you go and give Ags your stack up these camps, build up into it. Then there was the other one, which like Brown Boots into Radiance. Then you just go farm with like Octarine Core Manta style. There was a third build that kind of came about from a lot of Chinese players, though, which was more the battle alch. You know, the armlet into dagger BKB, assault cuirass, and you just go and fight people, gold you've got. And I'm wondering if that's what we...
Third option that you mentioned, well, the first one, the EE Sama build is sort of a niche build.
Yeah.
I don't remember anyone else doing it regularly other than EE Sama. Then I think even EE Sama
He
kind of
gave up
on the
Yeah.
pushing your teammates' eggs. So between the Radiance and the stats-heavy Battle Hawk, I think the latter is wiser build because they do have the option to just run over early mid game and finish the game with that gold advantage that we were talking about on Alk. Alk doesn't have to just commit all the way like 100 arm and get slotted and win. You can actually like fight in between really good lucky runes and then have semi full slot help team. Like their team needs a frontliner. They have Void and Gyro as the two other cores, and neither of them can really be reliable frontliners. So Al can get to that point where they can go high ground confidently, especially because they have that spell factor from Abaddon against Batrider. They don't have to worry about that, and other than that, Redemption don't really have really good defensive capabilities at high ground. I think overall, the stats-heavy Battle Elk build is the way to go this game.
Well, that's true. They've got Abaddon and the Disruptor, both to deal with that Batrider once he jumps. They've got a good couple of ways to deal with the Witch Doctor Death Ward as well, once that's placed down, and a couple of opportunities to catch Lance's Anti-Mage if he's jumping around trying to farm. Yeah. I honestly really think that Mosin and PR, these two supports, the Venge Witch Doctor, they really have to make their laning presence felt. But roaming potential for Witch Doctor and Venge, possible. It's possible. Also an Alchemist, before he hits level 6 especially. Reaction-wise, Trust can in an Abaddon, TP and a Disruptor, rotate them in to try and defend. Early on, their defensive capabilities aren't that great. They're going to have, one or two spells, maybe get the glimpse back onto someone, but with a Tiny there, his raw burst damage in the initial stages of the laning phase, Alchemist probably has to be a little bit careful with where he's stepping.
Right, just have to go power trades because the burst from Batrider and Tiny, well, Batrider doesn't burst, but you know what I mean. He survived the initial volley of damage, and what's interesting to note is that all of Signature's cores they're cores that you have to be really careful about ganking. Like you gank a Void, he backtracks all your damage in the initial 2 seconds. Then he opens a Chrono, and then the people TP in, Disruptor. Same for Gyro, same for Alk. If he gets the ult off and you don't kill him, he has like this sliver of HP. You never know what's going to happen after you're out of ammo.
Oh dear. That's not what we like to hear. But we've looked at Signature.Trust and how their laning stage is probably going to go. If Team Redemption can weather the storm for 20 minutes, they get that Blink Dagger up on Batrider. If he, honestly, there are potential ways that Batrider can outplay and maneuver in this lane to maybe avoid the supports, get himself a good amount of gold and experience, farm up a couple of stacks over in the jungle. Batrider's Blink could be big here to create a little bit of space for the AM, because they're going to turn into this squad of fighting Blink. Batrider, Tiny, the Witch Doctor and Venge, and then there's also the toss. That we have to look at is the potential for the toss from Tiny early on before the Blink Dagger is there to get the bat on targets, get that lasso back into Doctor and Venge. They've got some good displacement spells of their own.
Yeah, that would be a cute trick for a blinkless Batrider, especially because he's off lane. He's gonna struggle a bit. Bit worried for Zhang Zai because Disruptor and Gyrocopter, these two heroes alone in the safe lane can more than zone out a Batrider completely. That leaves Abaddon to be free to help mid or offlane, the Void, which is already a super annoying offlane to kill. So we talked about the roaming from the Vengeful and the Witch Doctor. If this Batrider isn't able to tie down the Abaddon to his lane, Abaddon might actually end all of Redemption's attempt at destroying our lanes.
Look for. Now, of course, guys, we are still waiting for one of the lads to get back in. He's blue screened apparently. sorted out and back into game. If they have any standards like that for Trust, I very rarely see it. They're always together as 5. I guess they go to like
Trust? Yeah, I think they only changed their nicknames a bit, which confuses people, including like opponents.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Big anime fans, I think.
Everyone's changing their names. At least it's not like Eternal Envy changes his name to every LAN event. No, he just does it to annoy people. The admins have had to start adding rules and stuff, so you can't use any name but your professional nickname that you signed yourself. Where this is heading? Redemption. Bring DDZ's tiny because out the wisp there, the carry build that we see a hell of a lot with the treads drums into Ags. I don't think that's really an option. I want to see him go for the blink dagger, but I'm looking at the jungle and thinking it's going to get crowded in here. In the Dire jungle, it's going to get super crowded. The Venge, which Doctor have time to stack, is finally going to go and clear them out to give it to the Bat Rider. And then later on, Anti-Mage, where does he go? I think there's lots of little nuanced ideas and plans that Team Redem kind of have to set out on the fly. It can't be all planned out right now. They've got to know what they're doing, when they're rotating. Vision has to be super smoked, especially like 15 minutes in. Having some deep wards, in the enemy jungle, maybe have one of the wards that we quite often see aggressively placed by the tier 2 mid on the Radiant side. You can watch out for these smokes and when people are rotating from camp to camp. Whereas Signature.Trust, they just need wards behind towers. If they can see the TPs and rotations in, they're Gucci.
I mean, I think Redemption have really small margin for error this game. Mostly because the Bat Rider already has an impossible lane. I don't care how good of a Bat Rider player you are. If you're playing against Disruptor and Gyrocopter, if these two heroes don't make mistakes, you're not gonna get a blink dagger before 10 minutes, or what mid Bat Riders are capable of getting. You have to just kind of shoo away to the jungle. Then this tiny, we talked about sort of needing to go blink dagger, and it's a fair point because he needs to make space, but then the heroes he's playing against, or the heroes that he has to kill, aren't easiest targets to kill. Like the Abaddon is not going to be killable past level 6. You have the Void, which is pretty like you go in and you use your combo and he lives with 100 HP, and then he uses backtrack, he's back to full, and then
he just goes
you're
you're
a melee hero.
Well, hopefully with Maledict, Avalanche Toss, they'll be able to kill someone during that lasso duration. Redemption also have a decent way of controlling around the Roche Pit. They are Dire side, and that might be something towards as well, with the Wave of Terror, with the damage they get, the Voodoo Restoration heal, and gen from that. Way of maybe sneaking a Roche here or there. Anti-Mage with Vlads can go and potentially solo that out. Obviously the AoE, the big wombo combo factor is definitely there and available for them. Acid Spray and the Chrono with a cooldown and the Static Storm all on top of it. Definitely, they can definitely bring the pain if they want to. Trust have to be careful about getting into choke points and fighting in enclosed environments. They definitely want to be more a kind of split push, but not necessarily a hard split push like, let's say, Nature's Prophet or a Lycan would do. More of we're split pushing here not to maintain map objectives, but more to draw Trust away from that big 5-man group up. Try and, throw 2 heroes here, 2 heroes there, and as long as maybe we lose a Witch Doctor, maybe we lose a Vengeful Spirit, we're still gaining value in other lanes, and that pay attention to is giving away kills on supports. Team Redemption can definitely get away with that. If Mo's on an MTI, if the score is like 0-10 by 15 minutes or something like that, that's a little bit insane, but they're 0-8, they're 0-7, and they've created enough space for AM, Bat Rider, Tiny to get their job done, and actually have a reasonably laning phase. I mean, that's for in this kind of game. If Team Redemption can be comfortable, necessarily being up in the air, being pretty happy, it's just right, we're okay, satisfied with how things are going. No. Signature.Trust have to kick it up a gear. A little bit harder, but we finally got our players back into the game. Casa has rejoined. Let's rock and roll. Let's get this started.
We talked about this early in the draft, where I mentioned Redemption is sort of the team that doesn't. They don't make aggressive plays on you just out of the bat from their draft. I mean, they're not defenders or they're not afraid of fighting. The impression I got especially when I played against them, they're the type of team that kind of draws you in and baits you into making bad decisions, and then they get a lead and they control the game with heroes that you wouldn't expect them to be able to control the game with, because made you make mistakes and then you're set back. And this game, as much as I criticize their draft, I want to be pleasantly surprised by what they're gonna do differently from thinking outside the box, because I sure as hell don't see them coming out ahead, at least for the first minutes or 15 minutes into the game. Weird laning assignments, mind games.
Oh no.
Where it's like,
Lost players again. Please. Please. Oh, Mikasa's gone, Lance is back after he dropped out for a couple of seconds. It looks like the Abaddon's having some internet, or rather some PC technical problems. Is not having a good time. What are you up to now? Planning on making a new team? Gonna be casting full time?
me? I'm looking. You right?
I'm talking to the game. I'm talking to myself. Of course, I'm talking to you. What are your plans for 2016?
I mean, I don't know. I was sort of out of it. Yeah. I think playing is sort of behind me. I play in several teams just for fun. I'm not gonna make any promises. Say I'm not gonna ever compete in Dota again. Playing is really fun. The reason I stopped playing is for other reasons. My hopes are to a caster, trying to improve, see more games, get more insights, the angles that I haven't been able to see before as a player. So it's sort of a new life in Dota for me right now. Pretty enjoyable so far.
Just having that bird's eye view and everything, and obviously having hindsight as well. When you see a team fight go wrong, you're like, huh. Done that. Sometimes you're focused in what you're doing in the moment. You don't get to take a step back while you're playing and see little errors, little kind of spark plays that players just pull out of the hat, and you don't expect it to happen, or you don't see. Just little things. Like I was a couple of months ago, I was looking over a replay of Dendi playing Magnus, and it's just the tiniest things, like knowing the range of vision for the opponents, knowing that there's no observer ward in this area, knowing that they get up to a certain point and skirting the edge of that fog. He was playing Magnus, and he managed to, like, almost pixel perfect, walk around like the circle of fog where the enemy could see, get into the perfect position for the RP, blink in, BKB, RP, score back a couple of people, and the absolute control that these players have. 2 years ago, we never used to see the Magnus turn hero model before RP, after you blink in to get the good angle and actually swing them back towards your team. Watch back and enjoy. Hey, here we go. Abaddon's back.
Serious business. Oh, I mean, we can't be sure yet. We already reconnected like 5 times this game.
Shush, don't jinx it. Fine, I'm sure. Fine, he's here. Oh, sorry. Right, we're gonna start again, and hopefully this time will last more than 7 seconds. No? Master seems to finish pretty quickly. There we go. He's bought himself sentry wards and a courier. It looks a little bit better this time, but look at this bot. Dance towards bot. Anxiety.
So
that
big.
observer
I think
ward.
Disruptor saw the Batrider, but Batrider doesn't see the. I mean, Batrider
sees him now.
Oh, he pinged him.
Sees him
I
now.
thought Batrider has a less daytime to be able to see the. That would have been really big if Disruptor saw Batrider plant the. You were just mentioning this slight difference in fog of vision. So Disruptor, if he completely sure of Batrider's line of sight, he can see Batrider, but Batrider wouldn't be able to see him.
Close. I mean, the Disruptor definitely saw the bat come in. Observer orders placed straight away. He's actually going to place it over lane. A hilltop there, watching down towards the bot. A little more intel of where the contest is coming. Obviously, with an Alk on the Radiant team, kind of want to know kind of want to know where the Alka's going and where he's contesting these bots, and it's going to be the bot one. And at this point, looks like there's enough redemption to go. And
Signature
back.
might be greedy. They have a Void and Abaddon eyeing this top rune, and they might shield the Void, and he can the rune and backtrack all the damage he takes.
Going for it. Gabs. Level up that time walk. Nope, not going to jump in. Think twice about it. They at least get the Alchemist the bot bounty rune. Come up to 500 gold or so with Quelling Blade Stout Shield he's got. Just a couple of last hits until he gets that bottle up and running. Alright, is there anything surprising about these lanes so far? Gyro disrupted down at bottom lane. Abaddon just blocking a creep wave for the mid. Alk faces Void, pretty standard. Doctor plus AM is top. The Vengeful Spirit down towards the middle lane for the Tiny. Dual lanes mid, dual lane bot and top for the safe lanes and regular off laners. Yeah, nothing massively out of the ordinary.
Nothing unusual. I think these are the most standard lanes from draft and players that pick the heroes. One thing sort of really important right now is we talked about the Abaddon making rotations because he's really confident that his teammates, the Gyro and the Disruptor, zone out this Batrider pretty well. So we see the ENG is going to focus on stacks, knowing that Batrider is going to have a really impossible lane. It's up to this battle of the supports. Abaddon versus Witch Doctor and Venge. If Abaddon's able to block any of these two heroes, then accomplish his job.
They're actually jumping down onto the Abaddon already. He's got his shield up, and he'll be able to get himself back a little bit further, but this damage output from Team Redemption, it looks pretty strong. Faceless Void tries to throw it back in their faces, but jabs. Poor man shield, bash leveled up finally, now he's hit level 2. Mosin, situation, if jab's got a bash there, that's a ton of damage being laid down into him. Like you said, Abaddon just, like, Faceless Void on his own. Maybe the Vengeful Spirit could go and, stay in the jungle. The Abaddon being there in addition is forcing both supports to be here to really allow Lance to get the farm he needs.
A lot of weight is on DDZ's shoulders because Tiny versus Alk is, I mean, it's only a doable lane. It's not really, neither side really feels threatened by the other. So if DDZ is able to perhaps slightly outskill Bipro and get a faster Blink Dagger than Signature.Trust predicts, then that'll be really huge for Redemption.
To this point here, that DDZ realizes level 2 Acid Spray bloody well hurts. Dropping low on the HP, does have his bottle coming with and a magic stick actually. He'll be able to weather the storm for a little bit longer, and up at top, Lane has pushed in heavily into this tier 1 tower for the Radiant. Jabs, shield up. Comes the damage output. What is it, level 2 walk, level 2 bash. What do I do? 2 time walk, reduce that cooldown, obviously for him, but it's a good pull through from MTR. Wave over to the large cap. Now it's up to Mikasa as well as Jabs to contest this. The Vengeful Spirit. We're seeing again.
This Void is completely invincible. We saw earlier that the tri-lane from Redemption went for the Abaddon knowing they can't kill the Void. Void has to be like the shield in front of Abaddon.
Oh, Abaddon might put himself in a sticky situation.
He's gonna get into trouble every time he gets close.
Oh man. First blood goes the way of Team Redemption. Now Abaddon thought, hey look, Faceless Void's in trouble, but he really wasn't. Faceless Void just needed to time walk it all off, maybe get a shield thrown on him. That puts himself into the meat grinder, and Team Redemption, this is great for them. Means that Vengeful Spirits and the Witch Doctor are both up to level 3. Well, Venge is just hit level 2 actually. Witch Doctor level 3 with a level 2 cast and stuns. They have been drawn away from stacking these camps. Stacks that you kind of want from sports.
That was a trade-off for maybe the Anti-Mage or the Witch Doctor. I'm not sure who was stacking in early game. But someone made the call that this lane is super annoying and something needs to be done. So we saw Lance sacrifice his CS for aggression on heroes. But now that they got the first blood and succeeded in taking out the Void from the lane, somewhat makes up for not having as many stacks as Shangsai would have hoped in the jungle.
Where you kind of wonder, does the Void go back for an Iron Talon? He's picked himself up a Ring of Regen. Going to go into that Vlad's build, and Batrider's actually going to take these stacks, so not for Tiny. He's going to clear through a couple of these, get himself Tranquil Boots, maybe a bottle if he really wants that one. Dark top down at bottom lane, 23 and 16. Good CS, but Antimate is keeping up
9.
pretty good at this point.
Oh, if Signature played a little bit more tight, and so that the Batrider couldn't even get level 2, he wouldn't be able to jungle right now. That would have been really big for Signature, but you know, mistakes happen. It's like really hard to play completely perfect, so too big
Dire's middle
of a
tower is under
loss for
attack.
Signature.
Comes DDZ's Tiny. He bought himself a smoke and is roaming through the jungle looking for someone who's maybe stacking camp for Disruptor. By this tier 1 tower, just very safe, very passive, waiting. If maybe they can kill off this Batrider, but he's hit level 4. 2 in the Firefly and 2 in the Sticky Napalm. We might see a toss from Tiny actually for the Batrider to jump in onto the Gyro. Pre-level 6, Gyro does not have cooldown yet. Have the big ultimate. Tiny's actually just giving up on the bottom lane. Now going back to hunting mid.
I mean, when you see these two cores, like the Gyro Disruptor that we talked about being able to completely destroy the Batrider, not showing on the map, then you have a pretty good idea that they know. And I'm surprised that DDZ didn't go for the 3-2 build instead of 2. That would give him more killing power, and the toss would presumably be mostly for... I mean, it's a good farming spell compared to Avalanche, but possibility for him to toss Vengeful or Batrider.
Killed off the bat down at bot. Looks like a good glimpse in Rocket Barrage from heroes. During that kill, and with an Arcane Rune from MyPro. Actually going into that medallion build. Treads into medallion. I think it's going to be the Solar Crest. Or do you go medallion into S and Y? I mean, there's lots of different variations to this. It's interesting to see what he kind of aims for.
There's not much, what do you call it, physical damage, auto attack damage from the side of Redemption, so I'm sure if Solar Crest is going to scale really all that well, even though you can make the argument that Solar Crest in general is pretty good because you can have the Alp tank towers pretty definitely.
I guess if you throw it onto like a Tiny or an Anti-Mage, you get a pretty kill. That armor down for flat cannons to rip on through.
Batrider doesn't even have level 6, but being a part of her.
The level 4, the almost level 5 Batrider. I guess they've got MPR coming in from behind the smoke. Dissipate.
I think
Abaddon's behind them. Wait, MyPro's trying to go in on a kill for DDZ, but now he knows there's people behind him. Tries to run himself back. There's mana here for a full combo from the Tiny. They just need to get the target. This out ult is still up and running, and the damage average is not enough, honestly. Maybe if they can kill off this Mikasa Abaddon. Oh, it's running through the fire. What do you know, Mikasa Abaddon? Are you gonna die? He suicides, denies himself with a missed coil. That was a little bit tasty. A little bit back and forth there. The bat doesn't drop. That was an absolute mess. You could see he was going for the DDZ Tiny, who was sat down on 30 health. One missed coil would have finished the deal. Get the range.
I think Lakel's made a slight play there. He wasted too much Rocket Barrage on the... Could have just walked to the Tiny. He was already slow from call down. He would have caught up and had more reliable Rocket Barrage damage. But not the biggest deal, even though it's not like Tiny had 1,800, 1,800 gold and he's almost on Blink. So that could have turned really bad for Redemption. I hope they know how lucky they are to not have been like triple killed though.
That's a swing. Disruptor's been given bot lane experience and a little farm down here, so he's about to hit 5. They're incredibly important for the Radiant at this point. We're looking at a Void who's hit level 6. He does have his Chronosphere. We haven't used the call yet from Lakel's. This is the time. This is like 9 minutes in. Let's get these ultis flowing. Let's start these team fights and really start looking to pull off, because Lance is comfortable. Going back to what I was saying earlier, this Anti-Mage is comfortable up on this lane. He's farming himself away pretty nicely. Witch Doctor's comfy up here as well. You got a good lane ward to see when people TP rotate in. Tiny is a little less comfortable, but like you were saying, sitting on 2,100 gold, he's got his Blink Dagger money. He's got that locked in. Sure enough, he doesn't have treads, but it's going to be that surprise factor. 9.5 minute blink. Where the hell does he come from?
I didn't realize he had so much gold. I think I should statement from earlier that kill on Tiny would have been really big. This is sort of what I expected from DDZ a little, knowing he's a really good laner. Got that. I'd say 9 minute blink dagger is pretty even against like Alchemist, who's not the hardest hero to lane against.
Oh, Bat
Now
Rider.
they
Not there.
Oh, Bat Rider.
Fine.
I think my pro is going to be the centerpiece for Signature Pro right now, because if you notice, Signature doesn't really have good tower pushers. They have really bad tower damage, even though they have good wave clear.
Time is money.
I mean, between the gyrocopter and the Elk, they're not gonna kill the tower really fast, and they have to be worried. Tiny.
And he's been caught. No blink. He's going to try Avalanche Toss on Mal, but in comes Lakells. The rocket barrage in that debut of the blink. The glimpse is even there to bring the Bat Rider back. Sure, they can continue chasing this one out though. Zhang Zai does have Firefly and a TP to get himself a little bit further to safety, but in comes the concoction. And another right click from Lakells to get himself a double kill. And in this bottom lane, Tiny wanted to play aggressively, but Trust, they were more than ready.
This is sort of Shin's draft backfiring, and the reason that if the Bat Rider and Tiny are the only heroes getting plays right now, and even the Bat Rider is far away from Blink, so every time Tiny's missing, I'm sure have a pretty good idea. It's not like a Tiny's gonna go to the jungle and farm some more with Blink Dagger. It's almost like it's too obvious once Tiny is out of vision, and Tiny alone isn't a safe bet on getting a successful gank. Kill someone, like we talked about earlier. They can be an Abaddon shield or King Guided, and all of that damage that he almost killing someone is kind of worthless. Abaddon.
Yeah, little Abaddon just gets blinked
He
on.
was so close to level 6 too.
Sad. He just wanted this creep wave to come into the tower, but DDZ and MTR, they were both ready and waiting for him. Now, up to this Faceless Void, he did go back for the Iron Talon. He's got 1,000 gold saved up, and on this Void, level 8 nearly, has got a decent amount of levels, but also net worth, you know? Seeing him right now is 1,000 gold behind the Tiny. And a distance ahead of that Bat Rider, who's currently sitting at 1,200, is 900 away from the Blink. Redemption, they get closer to these big items, and the biggest one of all is Lance's Battle Fury. 700 gold. He has this up and running. I mean, we're a couple of minutes away from it. DDZ self-invisible. The little rune, and now they're looking for the pick-off. They've got the Sentry Ward down, but he's not dusted up or anything, and they don't have the control. Kinetic Field wasn't in time, nor was it in place. Shout the Tiny. For a blink onto Fei Mao here, it looks like. Can he go for this? Try the Chrono. Oh, there's the blink. Avatos. Kill off Disrupt with the Chronos on the Lance. Follow through just isn't available. Abs is alone and went for a solo Chronosphere. Mypro will try to throw the concoction, but it's too late. I'll blink out from Anti-Mage. Gets him to safety.
That was such a big loss for Signature. They wasted so much time. They spent sentries, valuable sentries, and then they got killed. And you know, the Anti-Mage pretty much has his battle free. They eat away. This is the kind of picture we were talking about. That Signature, if they make too many mistakes like this, then they're gonna have. They don't have many ways to force like tower. Like they can't just go to a tower and kill it so fast that no choice but to defend. So the split push game, if it starts from Anti-Mage and Tiny gets more pickoffs like this, then this game, despite what we thought, the draft can get really hard for a Signature.
Basically, they're going to have anti-mage problems. Lance just picked up his Battle Fury, now he's going to take all the Radiant jungle, farm himself through to Ancients, camp to camp. The lanes become his territory, his domain. Saying he's going to start pushing into these towers. Looking at Mypro actually. What does Mypro have? He went back for the Solar Crest, but this is an Alk who's 002. At level 11, but he doesn't have any initiation. Solar Crest, but sure how he plans to actually utilize this fully. Maybe catch someone out with a glimpse. Look for it now as EDD considers going for that rune, but I'm not sure that was the best idea. He's stunned up. Avalanche Toss is on top of Mypro, and the stun is there, but the damage, he's healing through it all. With a missed call on top of it, DDZ has blinked himself into a tragic situation, but the cast will save him for now. Spider wants to get involved pretty heavily as the last of Death Ward. I mean, Madden has his ultimate up. That's never going to work, my friends. Never, ever, ever. With the Avatar on 3, though, DDZ gets the kill on Fei Mao. He's being damaged down, but there's nothing to stop him. The Gyrocopter from the back end does manage to pick up the Witch
DDZ.
Doctor. He just blinks and TPs. Blink, TP. Still waiting around. They can see him here. They can see him. The creep gives vision, but there's no stun from my pro. If only the Alk had blinked himself, would have been able to catch up and kill.
I think both sides are aware that they're seeing each other. This top rune area, they saw the tiny, that's why Alk started charging his stun, and how Alk knew how it went to back, so maybe some kind of warding battle revive.
Meanwhile, Anti-Mage. He's getting closer to his Vlads, honestly. Stuff for them to handle now. In the case that AM does get into Vlads, into Manta style, Signature.Trust, I have two ways to deal with it, and one of them is right here. Jabs, the chrono is
didn't clip him.
Glimpse is good. Glimpse is still good. They had vision up on the high ground, just drag him back. Now, this is what I was saying, they've got two very good ways of locking down his anti-mage. Chronosphere is one, Glimpse is the other, and they utilize both of them perfectly there, honestly. Trust, capitalize, catch anti-mage. It's a little bit unfortunate they don't go with rush kill. 15 minutes in, that could honestly consolidate what they have, and allow them to push into towers a little bit harder.
It probably has to do with all the mistakes they made this game. Like, going for Roche is be a pretty big commitment. Who knows what can go? Pat Ryder might his flame break, even though he didn't skill it. They don't they lasso people onto the hill. Yeah, they might not be able to complete the Roche. And knowing that themselves aren't gonna be able to Roche safely, or it's like they'd rather either side have Roche getting a bit greedy and going for Roche. Their Roche damage won't be that good. Glimpse not tiny.
But they don't know about the backup coming in. Famous caught, the death ward is dropped, the Disruptor is dead. Kamis tries to throw the damn thing, but Jabs is the one that has to come into the time dilation, looking to jump forward onto Modzun. But the best they're going to get here, oh no, it's not the best. Lakel's is here with a cooldown onto one, but he's blocked the retreat and they get two. Jabs wants a little bit more, he's thirsty for blood, trying to catch out DDZ.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Easy always does is could have just took away right now. I mean, like 10 seconds earlier and just got it now. But kind of toys with the. I mean, he looks for opportunity. That earlier kill when he had the invis rune on the Disruptor, it was because he was patient. You always have to be wary of the.
Bottom tower has fallen.
Anti-mage though, buddy. As Anti-mage finishes Vlad, he has 17.5 minutes in, and we're going to be looking at Manta style by like 20 minutes, something like that, if Vlad doesn't get picked off again. 107 last hits. He's almost 10xing at 17 minutes. Close to it, and I guess by 20 he definitely will be if this fight continues, and here we go! This is what I was talking about. Trust don't go and take Roshan. AoE combo they have with the minus armor that they've allowed themselves to build up with Medallion, Solar Crest, Acid Spray onto this Roshan. Once AM gets Vlad, he just goes and solos it. They've got Wave of Terror, they've got Batrider to control the pit around him, they've got Tiny to blink in to stop any aggression. And the best part is here, Trust have no idea what to do.
They're actually pretty scared right now. The Tiny, I mean the Batrider was missing.
Labs?
That's gonna die.
Oh, he dropped very low there. Very close. There's a DD rune down a bot, and I think they've given away that they're doing Roshan. This Radiant Observer Ward, yeah, it sees them. Sees the Batrider blink away, so Roshan's down to half health, and they put a head in, realize, hang on a second, someone's been in here. Messing with the big man, Lance TP's out. Not certain. Trust are going to try and steal it.
Batrider?
That's Firefly. Got a homing missile chasing after him, a homing missile. What is that? A little landmine homing missile going to chase the Batrider down. And on top of his head.
Roche pal, all Lance did was make it easier for Lakel. they saw anti-mage TP to top tower, so they're going to be able to, if Abaddon's on point with his lasso, they're going to take this Roche.
Oh, perfect timing. And it looked like Anti-Mage was getting away with that. enough damage, not enough to get away from it, and then Batrider kind of gave it away when he blinked in, walked himself out, and gave vision around that DD rune. And now the TP's come up the top thick and fast. Lance, of course, is still pushing away, getting a good timing on his Manta style, but it's not just the anti-mage anymore. It's this tiny 5,700 gold saved up with the blink dagger, pushing into tier 1 mid. They force the rotation to top the AM, and they've got to try and TP back down towards mid. Blink away, 2 people forced into this middle lane, and then that opens up bottom lane. Lance can farm jungle, move back to top, move down to bot, and all of these little movements. Oh, Jabs is getting focused down, but you're right, Mozone is the bigger target. He's the one that's actually going to die. Faceless Void just time walks off the avalanche toss. To safety he goes.
I think DDZ was saving that gold to see if Lance was gonna get that Aegis, and if Lance got the Aegis, he might have item build. Because he didn't, I think he's sort of forced to go more utility based. Maybe hard to say in this game. Like,
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I'm not sure if Axe is the best choice, because like split pushing is all up to anti-mage. It's not like anti-mage has all the base in the world, but he has to go something trickier.
I
hold on to it for now.
Yeah, I kind of want the Tiny go for the build that we've seen off-lane Tinies in Europe, which is like Blink, Force, Shadowblade, and then Axe later. I'd really actually quite like to see a Shadowblade from him. Maybe, BKB would maybe be a safe item here, but you don't have the kind of sustained damage from the Tiny that you really want from a BKB carrier just yet. The mobility definitely for Staff Shadowblade is going to work out, but we'll find out what it's into.
This item build from Nitro is sort of interesting because he's the one actually getting the Shadowblade on top of Blink Dagger, so he's not gonna play that miner that we talked about, so that the Batrider doesn't have massive targets and he's gonna be tank. He still only has low 1k HP. He's gonna make a move with his Shadowblade.
That's all. They've got him. They caught Lance. Perfect play by Mal, and Lance is stuck and dead. That was a really, really well played move. Acting back into the static storm. Baited out a little bit, thinking, hang on a second, it's only disrupted down the bottom lane. Zhang Zai's looking for the Mikasa kill, but he's not quite gonna find it. Blink and Lasso both used already. Chasing pretty deep here. They don't know who's going to be sitting behind the Abaddon, because over to the bot rune spot, actually the Wave of Terror, MTR, there's an Alchemist standing on your head. You'll pick up the Bounty Rune as well, sure. Spirit, that's unfortunate. Doesn't get in there, doesn't steal it away from him. Well, DDZ, Blink's high ground. Oh, he's glimpsed, he's caught. They got the vision up on high ground, and now the Tiny's dead as well. Abaddon, Oki pops, the Avalanche toss won't kill him off. 1 by 1, Team Redemption falls.
They're really falling apart in a matter of minutes right now. Just a series of panic, I think. Well, the anti-mage getting caught, and then they didn't really, amidst all that chaos, they didn't really caught the Alchemist movements and his item build maybe.
Oh, from that one anti-mage Roche attempt, things have turned super sour here for Team Redemption as he's got themselves a pretty tasty lead. This is less than the lead we really expected them to get for the first 20 minutes when we thought, fight, they're going to go and push into these towers, but iPro definitely do well right now. 3-0-5. Blink, Shadowblade, he's got the mobility, but still we're looking at this anti-mage Lance. Anti-style timing not as great as I kind of looking at. Out on the Roshan, got picked off a couple of times though, so farming speed definitely mitigated a heavy amount as Trust waiting on the waiting up on top of this ramp. The high ground is their domain, just waiting. Time for Redemption to set the hero up here. Who's it going to be? Is it Lance? Lance, this is not where you want to be. Fame out and drops the bomb, hits him with a static storm, and Zhang Zai was right to drop the back, but they've got the big kill. They've killed off the AM. And Fame House somehow still surviving through this a little bit more jabs. The Chrono catching two. The perfect placement. The kills. Damage output is superb. Another rocket barrage. This time dilation means they cannot cast a single freaking spell. The long range dunk there from the concoction will clear up another. And guess what? AR, what's your escape plan? Because you're stuck here. Body blocked by Jazz Void and chased down by Mypro's Alk. They just keep on going, diving further and further, deeper and deeper. The homing missile just blocked him on the head. Mypro will slap down Zhang Zai. die, and one by one, Team Redemption is dropping like flies. Aegis is gone, but they don't even care. DDZ comes in with the Avatar, and they'll try. Jabs! No, the time walk, 1 second until he could get out of that damage source. But it's all good. They forced a buyback from the Tiny, and they got a full 5-man team wipe.
I mean, that buyback from Tiny was so not worth. It didn't really. He avoid that, and then they were. I mean, Signature was gonna back out anyway. It's kind of a questionable play from deep. But a lot of good Signature.Trust. I honestly didn't think Lance was gonna walk up that hill, knowing that so many people were. But of course, you know, I have full vision, hindsight, and all that, and now Lance has to be really careful. He can't blink early. He has to wait for the.
That was fractionally off. Static Storm was just cooling down, and that was, I don't know, a third of a second away from being perfect from now. Still questionable whether they had enough damage to kill the AM off. I guess they've got Monkey King Bar S and Y on the Gyrocopter, which does do a hell of a lot of damage. It's DDZ. Question has been answered. It has a Ghost Scepter. Taking the full E-Blade?
Not sure if Ghost Scepter is the right choice. I mean, it doesn't add any offensive capabilities whatsoever. It's not really foolproof against what you have in our arsenal, right? I mean, it doesn't block the actual stun from Alchemist's Stable Concoction, so it won't do any damage. So I'm really surprised that DDZ went for the Ghost Scepter, even though he had about 4k gold.
A little bit weird. I mean, it's like halfway down the route I wanted, where there's, you know, a little more mobility for this Tiny. Just get himself in and out of the team fights a little bit easier, but it's not Shadowblade, it's not the
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
It's not the Shadowblade of the 4 stab, it's not the Ag, it's not anything like that. He just goes in for the Ethereal Blade. I guess when you're looking at all of these heroes on Trust, not a single one have BKB, right? Gyro didn't build one, Alk didn't build one, they've all gone for like damage and stats. There's not a single BKB here. They can jump onto the kills and just nuke him into oblivion, E-Blade Avalanche Toss, and I guess with like Batrider's spells and abilities as well, that puts him in a great position to win the team fight, just getting the numbers advantage, but they've caught Lance a bot. Chronosphere there, Static Storm catches him as well, and the damage output should be great. Straight onto the AM and finish him off the career. Eat it away. Eat it away, the blink forward, jabs. Oh, come on, one more second, time walk forward, can you get it? The hit is there, the courier's dead. The little dragon goes down, but looking towards the Mikasa, stunned up, or at least get something for their efforts. Baden is taken down. That was a lot of commitment. Lasso, a bunch of stuns thrown out, and a lot of time.
You know, if Abaddon committed suicide there, that would have been like rubbing salt into their wounds like twice. That courier kill into Abaddon, deny. But yeah, playing anti-mage against Disruptor Void is super annoying, and I don't really. I mean, Lance can obviously play a bit better, but and you can't really help it. The team's were really behind right now, and what's been happening for the majority of the game is that Lance had being up in net worth, but obviously he's an anti-mage. He's not able to participate in the can only participate if his team is doing pretty well and he can clean up. Obviously, that's not going to be the case with Gyrocopter and Alchemist having farm and mid-game aggression being much stronger than what Mage have to offer, and there's way too much weight on Tiny shoulders right now. And with the E-Blade pickup, I won't say it's the worst pickup, but I mean,
it's wonky.
It's not going to ensure that he kills someone. At least the Gyrocopter, he didn't go for the BKB, but he's really tanky, supported by that Abaddon. He already has almost 2k HP. Alchemist, gonna get some stats items, I think, after AC.
Alk could even go for a BKB after this AC is his next item, actually. Really
I mean, I don't even see what's stopping Alk from getting Heart right now. Because he gets Heart. If Redemption are able to kill this Alk, he can just play in your face kind of Dota. Tanks, all kinds of spells, and it's not like he doesn't have the DPS to kill at least the 2 supports and Batrider on the side of Redemption. We're gonna quietly wait for Roche, which I think I'd call. They've shouldn't take any funky Roches like the last time for Landside. He got stunned, but to be honest, that's not like the usual timing for anti-mage. Needs like Vlad's and a bit more like a Yasha or a Hyperstone.
Or a DD rune.
Yeah, just Battle Fury and Vlad's is sort of slow, and things like that happen where it's long and you start getting nervous, or Roche bashes you a few too many. He could have spent all that time farming a lot more. Personally, I don't like go for Roches that early on anti.
When the net is closing, they know exactly where Lance is with that good aggressive observer ward. And Lance blink TP out. Blinked into the side shot. He's getting himself deeper and deeper into the jungle. Get caught while the rest of his team actually they're trying to smoke it around themselves because that's what they're setting up to do. Smoking in, they know it's up, but oh, there's a little Satyr in there. A little purge creep. Where Lance has kind of drawn Trust away from the Roche pit, you know, pull them all up towards the top lane. They jump in to try and take it. In comes the reaction. Abs, Iron walks forward, he's got his blink, and Trust have to, Redemption have to back themselves away. Cannot go balls deep on into this.
Oh, tiny.
They might still be caught. The blink, stun onto Lance. The call down will land on his head as well, but there's the Avatar. My pro is nearly dead. He's being dropped lower and lower. The Chrono's on the back end, but they kill off the Alp. The Chrono from Jabs taking down the support slow, and that's where the Kelp is focusing his efforts. MTR, Bat Rider and Witch Doctor, they all die. Only the AM and Tiny survive, but that's a satanic done for the Kells, and that's a free Roshan for them if they want to just wander in and take it.
There's no reason not to. I think the Bat Rider died without being able to lasso. 30 seconds should be more than enough time for them. That was a perfect chrono and follow-up from Gyro and Bolt. So at first it looked like my pro sort of misplayed. I mean, he went for the anti-mage and then easy punish him for it. But it ended up not mattering because this chrono and AoE from Gyro.
Out Black Cannon, so much damage. Now with Aegis again onto Lakells. After too much, we're even seeing Aghanim Scepter done for the Faithless Void with 1100 gold sitting in the bank, a gem. Caster gonna walk around and de-ward everything he can see. Right now, there are a couple of pretty decent wards here for Redemption. Baden just needs to get himself up high ground spots and get rid of these observer wards. Okay, come on. Doesn't see it. Doesn't see it. There's just this little cute little observer ward standing up on the high ground. Come on. It's watching your every move. Oh dear. Where? Oh, they know now. They see it now. There we go.
Okay.
What ward is that anyway?
This next purchase from Lance interests me the most right now. 4k gold. So if it was a BKB, I think he would have bought it by now, or kind of waiting to see what kind of new information he gets on the opponent's item builds.
A gift from the Tempest of Battle.
Other options. BKB obviously against Static Storm is going to be pretty important for him to go for. Maybe it's like BKB plus buyback.
Yeah. I mean, sure, BKB is pretty good here because he needs control against Disruptor. Because Manta doesn't do anything. BKB would let him push indefinitely, but at the same time you have to consider Chrono, North BKB, and Shadow Blade initiate Alk, like pseudo counter to BKB. Dodge, Shadow Blade initiation.
Boyd
Picked up a Demon Edge. It's going to be some kind of EE, some Divine Rapier game.
Oh goodness, let's see it. Give us the Rapier. Let's see what you can do with it. Monkey King Bar against the Solar Crest Alchemist is reasonable for if that's what you want to try and aim at. And then the Butterfly from the
Gyrocopter. Initiation on Gyrocopter.
Direct back into the Sphere forward. That's his first life only though. Now just waiting. Jabs. Where is this Void? Chrono down onto the two big heroes. They've got Lance and now the Kel just throws everything on top. Anti-Mage. Not gonna die just yet actually. My pro couldn't get in there with the punches, but they just walk it off. Avalanche Charles will clear up Disruptor, but it's all good. They're taking down buildings. They lost the radius, but they'll get themselves a lane of racks here, even with a glyph up for Team Redemption. I don't see a good way of them defending this. Anti-Mage can blink in, the Tiny can try and initiate, but Jabs is just doing such a good job up on the front line, brawling away, throwing the time dilation down. Batrider, still no lasso. 47 seconds. 47 seconds. Timer just never goes down, and lands and taking a pummeling. He's jumped up by the Alk as well and stunned. Killed off. The E-Blade didn't save him. Damage output was just too good from MyPro. At least they got the Fetcher's Void.
He got bounced this poor guy.
Oh, thrown back into the pit of fire and destruction. Mikasa, there's no swap, like I said, used on the Fetcher's Void, but they jump in with the AM, but stunned up. Mikasa TP's out, they've got the magic missile, there we go, clear him up, but look at the missed chances. AM, you can't hit the Alchemist, you can't hit what you can't see, but you can see when the tiny comes in. Avalanche E-Blade. At the very least, Team Redemption, they use their buybacks pretty well. Well, one buyback on the anti-mage. Expensive one. Necessary to save their tier 3 mid.
Yeah, that's still pretty bad for Team Redemption. Honestly, I'm not sure what kind of plays they can make because Anti-Mage already committed to this Demon Edge. I mean, I don't think it's MKB because even though Gyro has the evasion and the Solar Crest from Elk, MKB is not that important for Anti-Mage right now. He has other options. He has to worry more about himself not dying and being able to split push. So if it's a MKB, I'm gonna be pretty surprised, but I might have just bought the Demon Edge too. The game being so hard as it is, he had to buy that Time Rapier. Sure.
KB Batrider, here we go. Not gonna get screwed over by those glimpses anymore.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Tiny Ags himself around right now, just looking. There are ancient camps whenever he can. Up on top of this cliff. Find. Oh, you're right. Lakel's is so beefy at this point. 2100 HP with the Abaddon behind him. Shield on top of all of this. Wants that butterfly pretty soon. Evasion into Eaglehorn. Kinda sad. Kinda sad for the Witch Doctor at this point. Having nowhere, being nowhere near your Aghanim Scepter.
That's always a pretty when you play Witch Doctor. It's like one of the only things you look forward to.
When do I get my Ags? When do I get my Ags? Is it soon? Is it now? Nope. Probably not going to buy it this game. I mean, if only he was on Trust, Alk could gift him one. And speaking of, we haven't seen any Ags picked up yet, have we? That's something that the Alchemist definitely can look towards.
I think if he's going to give it to the Abaddon for sure, if he gets it first.
Oh, Disruptor, surely.
Really? Abaddon is the more imba, isn't it? I mean, Abaddon Ags is like you have a Critical Realm from Kunkka, your entire team, but it doesn't go away. Disruptor is like the Anti-Mage doesn't even have BKB, so it's not really gonna change.
If the AM had BKB, I guess that's what you'd look for, because they've always been static storming the Anti-Mage. I was just thinking more like, you know, Batrider, BKB, Manta Star from the AM. You're right, the Abaddon just mitigating all of that damage. What is the percentage actually? 40%? Redirect.
Right.
Oh, MTR. They're going to be the free pick off. Even with Ego Scepter up, still going to get shredded by the Rocket Barrage.
So Anti-Mage did get that, finish that MKB, which sort of surprised because he's first of all, I don't think he's going to be able to go out or Terracopter. And second, MKB doesn't really help him farm more safely. Like these full rotations. I mean, just general roaming from gonna get him out of glimpses and such. So interesting move. Now he's forced to defend. 3 people will be able to. The buyback from bench. He didn't have that much time left on Gunner, I think. The revival time.
Oh, I didn't look, but it can't have been more than like 20 seconds or something, right? He was killed all the way over towards the west. Cool. Buyback does force try.
Oh, Lakel's actually going back for the BKB instead of completing the butterfly. He saw the MKB on.
Good old bait. I'm going butter. Force MKB and then switch it to his own to now. Now the E-Blade Avalanche Toss combination out from Tiny is not going to be winning Gyro too much, and also Gyro just comes back with a Satanic Lifesteal anyway.
ward and defensive ward from Signature.Trust. See the trees being cut by the smoke bat rider.
See the fire as well.
Does it? I don't think you see fire from a smoke bat rider.
No?
You don't. I think that's. I mean, that's why you can smoke with bat rider and kind of firefly before you gank someone, and you don't see the fire, but you see like
The trees dying.
it's hard to describe. But bat rider becomes like a weird circle just before he lassos you. Even just before he blinks and
He
lassos
jumps
you,
up from the
but-
ground.
Yeah, it's they might have changed. One of the features of bat rider and smoke.
Features.
Invisible smoke. You just see neutral cams burning, running away from nothing.
Where are they going? What's stopping them? I like that word though, feature. You know, whenever you talk about Dota 2, it's never a bug, it's never, you know, something that's gone wrong, it's always a feature. IceRog intended it to. He is the creator. He is the owner of their game. Looking at the Faceless Void, 3,400 gold up on him, net worth. So, he's dropped behind the tiny now, but... As this Faceless Void is more of the utility hero at this point. Next item for him, what do you kind of expect? Gearing up towards endgame, basically.
They have double armor, Vlad's on the Void, AC on Elk. Not sure if it's too late for Void to transition back to like the more traditional Void, where he's actually a threat, damage-wise.
Swap back for Lakel's
Nice,
BKB,
nice reaction.
the Chronos down to Lance. Where's the actual target going to be? Because Lakel's is still fighting on the back end. They're not focusing Lance down or anything. They're just trying to deal with the Witch Doctor and clear him up, as well as DDC, who cannot get enough DPS down. Killed off 3, and they've actually managed to kill off the anti-mage as well. Trust is just diving in deep. Irony can potentially buy back here, and he will throw himself into the pit. Get into this battle once more, but they're losing ranks, both mid and top. Probably even the ones down a bot as well. AM cannot come back into this for 80 seconds. Looks like DDZ might even be done himself. Clear from MyPro, not going to be followed up by anything. Lakel's, he's switched down towards the tier 3 bottom lane. Casters help, but to heal themselves up, tumbling into these buildings. Yang Zai, he's
Nice.
glimpsed and stunned up.
Combo.
MTR swaps him back, and he's got a Ghost Scepter as well, but in jumps MyPro, says goodnight to back. And that's a beyond godlike Raquel for the past 20 minutes or something like that. MyPro under the fountain, killed off with the Ghost Scepter. E-Blade keeps him alive. DDZ saved him with the Chrono. Oh, you cannot jab! No! You can't do that! You can't do that.
Gotta Chrono the fountain too, Jebs. Not in a fountain camp.
Well, Team Redemption.
This game it kind of went the way that we predicted. There were some hiccups in the beginning, but I mean, my signatures lineup is way too early mid-game heavy, and like we talked about, it's not even that. It's